now or post a new video, and don't forget to give this video.
Hi, it's Sandra. You heard me talking a little bit then. I'm on my phone tonight because my iPad cable charger is broke. It's literally split, and yeah, it's very dangerous. So I'm on my phone. Welcome to another episode of Asexualized, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. So today I'm going to be talking about my reaction to a viewer's reaction video about a video on my channel. So yeah, Ivan, hello Ivan, give a big shout out to him. He decided to do a reaction video to one of my videos on this channel. I didn't know he'd done a reaction video until I went through and looked at his channel, and it's in various parts. So it's really in depth, and I went from part 2 to 5, I think it was, last night, and it took me about an hour and a half with a few other of his videos I watched. To listen to what he had to say, and his story is very interesting, his asexual story. So I'm going to be sharing a little bit of that with you on here anyway, as he shares it on his own channel. It would have been great if Ivan would have put in his description a link to the video that he's talking about. So maybe he can do that, because obviously if you share someone else's video from their channel, then you really need to give credit to the person whose video it originally was. So that's kind of like YouTube etiquette, and also is in with the fair usage policy rules. So anyway, he was commenting on a video which I'm going to show you now, which is my video. So I've got my own channel up here, and this was a video I did a little while ago. When age really does matter, and not in the way you think. So he did a reaction video to this video. This video goes on for 37 minutes and 45 seconds. And in this video, I am talking about a guy that I spoke to on asexuality.com via messaging. It was a dating site. And the reason I wanted to do this video is because, you know, age, I say, is a state of mind. I'm nothing like my birth certificate age whatsoever. And I had this guy who was quite, you know, a few years older than my birth certificate age. Hi, Michael. Nice to see you. So I'm talking about a reaction video to a video I've done. So I'm mentioning the video I'm talking about at the moment. So the video on my channel is called When Age Really Does Matter and Not in the Way You Think. And it was about basically this guy, this Indian guy I met on asexuality.com, who was in the UK actually, but I was comparing my answers to his explanation of the type of ideal relationship he wanted, and it was clear that although there's only a few years difference with us in birth certificate age, I was nothing like really the type of age person he would be looking for, because I'm into like really young things, kids movies, superhero movies, theme parks, zoos, aquariums. He's into fine dining, current affairs, and all that type of thing. You know, the age gap really shows. And that's what I'm trying to say to you, that, you know, I go for younger guys because my lifestyle, my mindset, the way I like to live my life is very in keeping with guys in their 20s. You know, I love educating myself all the time. Often they're at university. And so, you know, we have that in common, that we're both into education big time and developing ourselves. And I also, you know, like some of the same movies as them, the similar music, hip hop. Hi Lou. Yeah, it has been a long time. Nice to see you. So I like a lot of hip hop, dance music, clubbing. I like going out. So I like doing a lot of stuff that young people do. That's my age group mindset, is 21st mindset. So, you know, that's where I am in my mind and my lifestyle. I live like a teenager, cuddly toys all over the place, sparkly things, colour boxes. The guy was asking, he's like, oh, I'd like to see your room. So you can see from here, like, you know, I've got, give you a quick tour on my phone, because I'm on my phone today because my iPad cable's broke. So you can kind of see, like, I got books everywhere. Yeah, kind of like sparkly things, coloured cuddly toys, yeah, quite a lot of young stuff, photographs, hearts, eels everywhere. Winnie the Pooh stuff. Yeah, I've got quite a lot of stuff that's really like quite young, you know what I mean? So, you live life to the fullest. Yeah, I do, Lou. Absolutely. I live it to the max. So this guy who's a YouTuber called Ivan, he was actually commenting on When Age Really Does Matter, but not in the way you think video, which was my own video on my channel. And he's done on his channel a commentary in reply to a lot of the stuff I was talking about on that. And it was really nice to hear what he had to say, because he said that he thought the video, I'll switch you back again, because obviously some of you are late coming here, so you know what I'm talking about. Is this video here? It was When Age Really Does Matter, and not in the way you think. So if you do want to check that out anytime, then you'll know more about what I'm talking about. So Ivan watches this channel a lot. So yeah, he did a reaction video. So but instead of just commenting a little bit, he went really in depth on some of the topics I discussed, and he said that he thought the video was cute and beautiful overall. So I was really happy about it. It's really nice, and I haven't come across an actual reaction video. But I know someone who was on this channel a long time ago, but he had, I think, a severe psychological problem, and he was doing weird stuff on his channel, so I stopped watching because he wanted me to watch it, and he was just like, yeah, a bit psychotic. And I don't mean that in a horrible way. I mean that is in a genuine way. I don't want to say what he was doing on his channel because it will draw attention to it, which is what he wanted, so I didn't bother watching after that. But I know my name was mentioned in it. But yeah, no, this Ivan's channel's really good. So Ivan was commenting on my video, and Ivan's story is really interesting because I learned a lot about him. I wasn't sure if he was doing the reaction video because he was romantically attracted to me, or whether he's just doing it because he could relate or wanted to, I don't know, have a chat about himself in relation to it. Because obviously I was talking about my ideal type of guy in the video, and he was talking about himself, answering like where he would be that type of person or not. So I found that very interesting, because I'm like, why are you commenting on if you'd be that type of person or not, unless you're interested in me? So I don't know, because I've never asked him that, but it was interesting because, yeah, he spent hours like analysing my videos. Well, like 20 minutes at a time nearly. So that's full on. Yeah, and it was very interesting. So Ivan's story is he's been married and he's separated. I'm not sure if he's divorced because I haven't seen that in the videos yet, and I haven't watched his channel for that long. So he's separated from his wife, and he believes that the reason for their breakup was because of his asexuality. So it's a very, very interesting story. But he said other things that lead me to think that maybe just that wasn't the case, but obviously only he knows because it's his relationship in his life. And I think lots of relationships do break down because one's asexual and one's not. If the other partner isn't, I think that can cause major problems if the person needs sex, heterosexual for example, and they feel like that you don't love them or you don't care about them, or they can't get what they want physically. I think, you know, I mean, I've had a lot of ex-partners that majority of them went off with other people because obviously I didn't have sex much or not at all. So yeah, it can be really hard as an asexual person. I've known people in my groups, for example, and they've had partners, and their partners have just like, they just can't live without sex anymore, and they split up over it. It's really, really sad. I've also got fibromyalgia. I don't really talk about it very much, but I'm in those groups, and people like who've been married years, their partners are leaving them because they can't have sex anymore. I just think that's really heartbreaking, really heartbreaking. So it was really interesting to hear Ivan's story there, because he said that he finds it hard to understand women, which was very brave of him to admit that. And he said that he's not the type of person who knows what he wants, because obviously I said on that video that, you know, I know what I want in my life, and that's the only problem when I like younger guys, is a lot of the time younger guys don't know what they want, you know, whereas I do. That's the benefit of a younger guy liking an older person, is the fact that, you know, we tend to know what we want. exactly what we want, and we don't mess younger guys around like a lot of girls would their own age. Do you know what I mean? But having said that, a lot of guys, you know, in their 20s, they don't even know what they want. They don't know if they want to get married, if they want to travel, what they want to do with their life, whether they want to settle down or not, if they want to like go to a certain place for study. They don't know. So from that point of view, that's not a very good thing for me. I really need a guy who's mid-20s upwards to early 30s, I guess, so that he knows what he wants. But it was interesting because I don't know how old Ivan is. I'm guessing he's in his 30s, but I don't know. He might be younger. He looks younger, but I don't know. From what he was talking about, the 80s, that usually means if you're into 80s music, you're kind of like, you know, around the 30s mark. But I don't know because I don't know him, and he might just like that music. So it was really interesting because he was answering what I was talking about, and he was saying that he feels that he's one of those type of people that doesn't know what he wants, and that in his past relationship as well, he didn't really understand women, and it takes a lot to understand them, and also that he didn't open up and be completely open and honest. You're 13, like 80s music. Ah, Lou. Yay. I'm like 90s and upwards usually. 80s getting a bit old for me. But yeah, I've got an 80s album that's still in the cellophane that I've never opened yet, that my mum bought me as a present, because it's like the music. I think I like one song on there that I'd love to like listen to, but I haven't even opened it yet because it's not, you know, it's a little bit old for me. Like I'm into 90s is like the oldest I usually go. I mean, I do like some 60s and 70s stuff. I'm definitely not born in the 60s and 70s, but I used to do a hospital radio show for years. So I was born in 88, so I grew up with that type of music. Oh, cool. You're nice and young. Oh, yeah. And you're foreign, but you don't live in this country. That's the thing. All the foreign guys that I get on really well with, they don't live in this country. It's just like, or guys that are even interested in me romantically, they don't live in this country. So I'm like, yeah. So it's really interesting for Ivan, because he's actually aesthetically similar to a guy I like, you know, in terms of looks. He's got short dark hair, clean shaven, not bad looking face, because I get attracted to a guy's face, and he's Mexican. And so yeah, I kind of like aesthetically, he looks like he's got baby face as well, which I really love, like a boy face, even if he is in his 30s. You was born in 1985, Michael. God, you're young too. Yay, hey for the young people. Yeah, this is good. So yeah, it's kind of like, it's really weird that he was answering all this stuff on my video, but he admitted he didn't know. He was the type of guy that didn't know what he wanted. And I'd say to anyone who watches this channel, you know, if you are looking for an actual relationship, until you know what you want, you're never going to get a good relationship, because your boundaries are going to be all over the place. Your mind is not going to know whether it's enjoying the relationship or not, so you can't really give 100% to it, if you know what I mean. So it's really important that you know what you want. I've come across guys as well, and they're in my dating group, for example, in the past, and I'm like, well, you know, and some people create profiles on asexual dating sites and they don't put much in it. And I'm like, well, what are you actually looking for in a relationship? And they're like, I don't know. And that's not helpful. It's not helpful for the person who's trying to look for a relationship and look through profiles, because if you don't know, why are you even on there? Because it's not going to end well. You're not going to have a fulfilling relationship when you don't know what you want, are you? Because it's just going to go into the abyss, and you're not going to work hard to keep it either, because you're going to be like, well, I don't know if this is what I want or don't want. And I think that's a huge danger. You're not going to be able to sustain it. I mean, the sad thing when I was listening to Ivan's story is he lost his family and friends over it when he was in a relationship. He kind of gave that all up for one person. He doesn't want that happening to him again, and he's very fearful of that. And I could really relate to him in that, because my ex was very abusive, and he had a friend that, you know, he was allowed to see, and because one of my friends really could see this guy was abusing me and was messaging me by text. He saw the text and didn't want me to speak to that person anymore. So I pretty much lost my friends over it. My family I didn't speak to that much, but I still spoke to my parents somewhat, so that was good. But yeah, I didn't have any friends by the end of it. I'm lucky now. I've built up some good friends, and I would never ever want to ever lose them. You know, I've got more male friends than female. To be honest, I feel more comfortable being around guys in general, a lot more guys. So if I go to meet up, for example, if it's my own meet up, then most of the people that come to my meetups are guys, or I've had 50-50 nearly sometimes, half women, half men, but I've never had more women than guys. And I've seen like meet up in London, for example, and the majority of people there are women, and I'm like, actually, I prefer my own meetups. I feel more comfortable around guys. I always have done in general. Although one of my bestest ever friends is female, and she's incredible. 6 or 7 years, but she's quite macho in some ways for a woman. So me and her, I'm like a mouse at the side of her. She is quite macho in some ways. She knows that, because it was so funny. Like, I'm not a lesbian, but it was really funny. We were out one night. Yeah, it's really funny. We were out one night, and this guy was offered, he was like a homeless trying to sell roses, I think, and he was offering me and my friend one, because I think he thought we're a couple. It's so funny. Because my friend is, you know, my friend is a bit more masculine, shall we say, and so she goes, oh, who am I in the relationship then, the man, as a joke, and it was really funny. So yeah, even though I've got male traits, at the side of her, I look, you know, I mean, she's feminine looking, but she's also got really big shoulders, big built, so yeah, a lot of guys are attracted to her though, because of her personality, and she's very aesthetically appealing to them. So, oh, what am I doing now? I've switched round. Sorry. So I'm on my phone, like I said, because my iPad cable's not working. So sorry about that. Yeah, so it's very interesting, this video of Ivan's. And so I'm not totally, you know, I mean, he knows that it probably is asexuality that finally did the final straw that broke them up. But from watching his video, I know he said he got a problem with understanding women. It obviously wasn't a healthy relationship anyway. If he's losing his friends and family, it means to me that it was quite an emotionally abusive relationship. That the person didn't seemed like, I don't know if the person wanted them to give up their family and friends, which seemed the implication, or whether he just decided to do that for some reason. I don't know where it's cultural, ethical differences. I don't know, so I don't know the reasoning behind that. But obviously he also said that his wife never knew who he was, because he could never really open up and tell her his secret. So she never knew totally who he was. And I don't think that any relationship is going to last forever when it's like that. But I might be wrong. And it'd be a healthy relationship, you see. But I mean, I personally, like I was saying in that video, I want someone who is, I can deeply emotionally connect with, who will tell me all his secrets and have no fear, and know that I'm a trustworthy person, who will connect with me on the most deepest emotional level. And with one of my exes, my last long-term ex, it was really horrible, because he was like that when I first got to know him as a friend, and then as soon as I got in a relationship with him, he started to change quite drastically, and he wouldn't tell me stuff, and then used to get cagey about when I asked about anything, and it just became horrible. He wasn't a nice guy, so, you know, it's sad, you know. I want a guy that will tell me his secrets, that will open up, that won't keep anything from me. And I think, you know, in order to have like a deep soulmate connection, you need that. I mean, obviously, if you just want a boyfriend or an artificial or superficial relationship, like you just fancy each other, just want to go out and hang out, sometimes it's not really that necessary, is it? But if you want a deep, meaningful soulmate connection, which is sort of the deepest level you can get, there's different levels of love and devotion and relationships, and I'm hoping that I get a really good asexual one in the future that's completely different to what I've had before, because in the past I've never really had the deep soulmate connection where you are really true bestest ever friends, sustained actually in a relationship. I've had that outside of a relationship where I thought the person was like that, but when they got in a relationship with me, they weren't. So, I mean, obviously, Ivan, by commenting on my video, telling me he's not that type of person, or his wife didn't, you know that about him, he's telling me that he's not suitable for me. But I don't know if he's meant to be telling me this. That's why I don't know if he was actually thinking about me romantically. But yeah, it's kind of weird. He's kind of telling me why he would be good for me in some ways, for the type of person I'm looking for, and why he wouldn't be good for me in some ways, because he doesn't know what he wants. So And he's like, oh, I'm like this, I'm not like that. But I think it's really nice to hear his story. It's quite sad sometimes because he does get emotional, and I like a guy actually who can show emotions, but he says that he's not emotionally stable. And obviously if you're entering a relationship with any person, you really need them to be as emotionally stable as possible, because you don't want that type of volatile relationship, because that can turn very bad, if the person is harming themselves or a danger to other people. So I don't know what level he's talking about with that. I know he's a bit down on himself, so you don't know if it's the perception he's got about himself or if it's the reality, if you know what I mean. But if someone says something about themselves, you have to believe it. If someone says they're emotionally unstable, then you have to accept that about them. There's a guy who's foreign, who lives in the UK, who's younger, who I could talk to, but he said to me, I had a problem in my last relationship. He owned up, and he said it was his fault in the sense that he isn't emotionally in a good state for a relationship, and so until he sorts himself out, he can't be good for anyone else. And I think that shows great maturity. And what I loved about Ivan's video, he's very tactful in the way he came across in his response to my video. He was very loving in the sense of, he said that the video was cute and beautiful, and a lot of people would find that video probably not so cute and beautiful, but interesting to look at. And yeah, and he shared some of his own life story, which has obviously been very difficult for him, how he, was married and then believed it was asexuality that split them up, and that he doesn't want to go back to a bad relationship, and he's really scared about that, and scared of putting, I guess, all that emotional effort into someone and losing that person. And I think that's what a lot of asexuals can relate to, not just like me or him, but I really related to that, because relationships are so tough. And when you are in a relationship, you kind of give a part of yourself to that person, even though you try and keep yourself whole. There's no doubt about it, you're giving yourself a part of you to them, really. And I think it's very tough. There is a danger that you can become less of yourself in a relationship, and that's why so far I've been happy at actually being single. I feel like I'm a whole person. This year I'm really working hard to change myself a lot, in terms of business especially. I'm working hard on changing my life, changing my mindset more than I have done before, changing the way I do things, so I do things differently in some ways. Yeah, I'm very much working on myself this year. I want to change. This year things have to be different for me. I've been doing something called a cognitive reframe of my past. So basically that's when you look at your childhood and past traumas or things that haven't gone right, and you put in a positive slant on them by thinking about them in a completely different way, which might be quite an absurd way. It's a way in which everything happens for a reason, but it's deeper than that. It's like you're going back and reframe. That's what happened to me in the last relationship. I feel like I can't love anyone. That's why I thought that I was aero. That's why I posted it up on Facebook and you commented on it. Yeah, I mean, that's a really important point, Lou, because some people I've read in the asexual community, they try and force themselves, I think, to be aromantic, which obviously can be a bit insulting to aromantics, those who lack romantic attraction, because we cannot, as romantic people, make ourselves 100% aromantic. It's not our orientation. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't make yourself be something you're not. But just as aromantics can learn the skills to be romantic if they want, we could learn the skills to cut off from so much remote romantic sort of, how can I put it, romantic attachment. We could learn to do that more. But I know someone else in the asexual community that is quite well known, and he's like, oh, I've become much more aromantic these days because, I'm just into platonic friendships. But a lot of the time, the people that are doing that, and I know someone else who feels like they're more that way, is because they've been so hurt in the past that they want to shut those feelings off. But obviously you can't make yourself become an aromantic. An aromantic person is someone who lacks romantic attraction, and just shutting off your emotions and shutting off yourself is not solving the underlying issue and problem of what's really going on with yourself, you know? Like, I could say I'll never love again, but that would be talking rubbish because I know myself. I could say that I never want to be in a relationship again because I've been hurt so much in the past, but that would be lying to myself. It's not actually the truth. However, the truth and the reality is I've been far happier single overall than I have when I was ever in a relationship. But the relationships I was in wasn't good. So, you know, I haven't had a good relationship, but I know a lot more now about what a good relationship looks like and about good things about it, that hopefully that would stand me in good stead to have a very good relationship in the future. That's the way you feel. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so, you know, I know people have been so hurt and they just want to shut off emotionally, but honestly, it doesn't help you. It's not solving your problem. You have to deal with it head on, you know, and you have to think, like, the cognitive reframe is all about thinking that everything you did in your life up to this point was always meant to be, even though it was horrible and horrendous, traumatic, nasty, vile in some ways. You have to understand that everything happened in your life to get you where you are to this point. I wouldn't be motivated like I am now if I'd had a happy childhood, I guess. The reality is that if I'd had a happy childhood and I hadn't lived some of the traumatic stuff I have, which you don't know, I don't think you know all of it, then it's not all to do with relationships either. It's to do with situations that I was in because of houses I moved in and stuff. Then, you know, I probably wouldn't be here today in the position I am in, because that is one of the ways I found out I was ace also. Yeah, what? Because of relationships, do you mean? So, you know, if I hadn't been through all the trauma, all the problems I've had in my life, then I don't think I'd be where I am today. That's what I'm trying to say. So a cognitive reframe, which I'm doing this year, which I only learnt about around Christmas time last year, is all about taking all your past and going back and nurturing the person you were back then. So like I've gone back to myself as a child, tried to picture myself as a child, try to hold that child and look after it and tell it that I will love it forever, and that if I was there, I would have put you in my arms and I would have looked after you and loved you forever like I do now. So you go back and try and go back into your past memories and go back and love yourself, and it does help. It helps you to start healing from the past. It's really interesting. It's very, very deep stuff this is that I'm talking to you about. I mean, if you're not of the mindset of spirituality, if you're not in the mindset of neuro-linguistic programming, reprogramming your mind, if you can't comprehend that, then you probably think that I'm talking like, you know, gaga language. But I only started learning about this towards the end of last year, and a cognitive reframe is when you go back in your past and you change the past perception by putting new perceptions in your head, and it helps you to heal. You change your own reality, in other words. You have to make yourself change your own reality, and so far it's been really good. Like today I was feeling better about my past than I've ever felt before. I'm not sure if it's going to last. I hope it does. You know, because I've never been able to go back to my past and actually help myself from that, so that's really, really helpful. And you know, even I see changing your perceptions as physical. Well, perceptions is part of the mind. The mind is everything. The mind, Michael, is the center of your whole universe. Is the center of how you see everything that people say to you. Your mind is all the functions of the body plus all your subconscious and conscious thoughts. When you start living a conscious life instead of a subconscious life, you're very aware of yourself constantly. Everything you do, everything you say, things that you could have said better, things that other people might think about you, but you've just got to obviously not go with what everyone else thinks. You've got to be strong and stay yourself, even if people don't like you. But you know, cognitive reframe is all about going back and putting different perceptions about past in your head. So because neuro-linguistic programming, like reprogramming your neurological brain, takes time, and you've got to have some help. Your mind is a neural network, though. Yeah, your brain is what allows you to do physical stuff. Your brain is what makes your hands move. Your brain is what makes you hungry and want something to eat, but it's when we move our hands, so for example when we walk, that's a subconscious reaction, but it's still coming from our brain, but that's our subconscious brain working. So we don't think every single time I'm walking here now, we just walk. Every time we move our fingers, or I move my lips now, I'm not consciously thinking every second, every millisecond I'm moving my lips. It's happening naturally, but that comes from brain. The brain is sending signals, obviously, for my mouth to move. But it's not conscious until I start talking about it, like now, in which case I'm quite aware that my brain's sending signals to my mouth because I'm talking about it. But we do a lot of stuff involuntary, and that's our subconscious. When we live in a conscious reality is when we have thoughts in our head that we can change our perception of things. It's only if we want to. If we don't want to change our perception of things, then we don't have to, because our perception's our own perception, our reality is our own reality, really. So it's up to us whether we want to change that reality or not, you know. But I've had to go back and see if cognitive reframing helps, because I need to heal from trauma. You know, many people in their life experience childhood trauma, and you can't change the past, as in what actually happened. You can only change your view of what happened and why it happened to you. And that's what cognitive reframe is. It's changing your view about what happened to you for your own good in order to help you to heal. It's quite hard to do at first, because you have to go against your own mind in order to change it. But, you know, it's like, you know, why would anyone want trauma, upset or pain? But at the end of the day, a lot of, if you look at a lot of thought leaders, people that are different, people that are sort of famous and stuff, there's usually something been wrong with them, right? But you said that I think you were talking nonsense if I didn't have spiritual views, but I don't have spiritual views, except rewiring your mind like you're describing. You always have to exercise your brain to maintain it. Yes, Michael, that's good. You have a good point. Yes. You understand how the brain works. Yeah. It can be like, well, spiritual and brain can be similar, actually, because I don't class spiritual as ghosts and things like that. I class spiritual as, I don't know, what do I class spiritual as? I think spiritual's to do with the brain, you know. I think the brain and the spirit are very similar, if not one. But spirit's like your intuition. Spiritual's like your intuition, and everything happens for a reason. It's like your gut instincts, and I guess that's kind of like linked to your brain in some way anyway. It's like an involuntary brain response. So I think maybe spirituality and brain is very linked. Maybe mine is anyway, because spirit intuition is to do with your perception, which is to do with your mind, which is to do with your gut instinct. But your brain, it's your feeling as well. Like, I'm very intuitive. If I don't listen to my intuition, if I go against it, my life's horrible. So at the moment I'm following a path. I'm doing different business stuff. I'm launching a new inspiration inspired brand. I've had it for a long time, the brand, but I haven't really know what I'm doing with it. So I'm doing creating social media packs for entrepreneurs at the moment. It's something I've not done before. It's taken me months to be doing it. I've been working really hard on it, because obviously I'm doing all my asexual stuff as usual whilst trying to do this new thing. But some of these inspirational quotes I post on my asexualized page, and they're very welcomed and people love them. So, you know, it doesn't have to be for entrepreneurs. Anyone can buy them and stuff. I don't have that association. So when I hear spiritual, I equate that with magic. Oh, I don't equate spiritual with magic at all, apart from in the way that I guess it's intuition's a magic of life. You know, but you must get a gut feeling, Michael. That's intuition, which is spiritual in my book. You know, the gut feeling of when you feel, you just don't, you aren't told something's wrong, but you instinctively know that something's wrong. You might walk into a room and you look at people, and all of a sudden there's this person in the room and you can feel an evil vibe from them. Maybe, or you can actually feel someone else. You can feel someone else that's in pain or upset. I get that. You know, I saw a counsellor years ago. I've seen lots of counsellors in the past. I don't see any more at the moment. Haven't seen any for quite some time, until I was told by the last one that I'd have to have sex in order to keep a good guy, which is 2014 when I found out I was asexual. I haven't seen a counsellor since then, which is not surprising, is it really, when you're told that? It's not really going to make me want to ever go back to see a counsellor. But you know, never say never. I think counsellors have got their place. I think if you get a good one, then it's great. It's good to talk about things. But You know, like saw a counsellor. I don't see intuition, spiritual magic, but as automatic pattern recognition. Yeah, but that's different. So intuition and fear can be very similar. So you've got to be careful there, because we can fear things which we think is intuition, but actually it's our fears. Sorry for going off topic. No, it's fine. It's interesting. Ivan goes off topic all the time with my videos, which is why he's done long commentary on it for like 20 minutes at a time. So his commentary is longer so far already, longer than my original video. This is quite interesting. But yeah, so we've got to be careful as human beings to distinguish between intuition and fear. So sometimes intuition can tell us not to do something, but it's because we're fearful. But sometimes it's actually intuition talking, and sometimes it's fears. So they're two different things, but they can feel similar. So it's so difficult to decide which one it is sometimes. But yeah, so you must have got, like, I was going back to a counsellor that I had years ago, and I actually knew she was upset, which normally the person who's upset would be the person going to see the counsellor. And I said to her, because I knew intuitively that she was upset, I said, "You're upset today, aren't you? I can tell." And she was, and she admitted it to me. She's like, "How do you know?" She was shocked. I said, "Because I can tell. Because I could tell just by looking at her face. I'm very good at reading people's face and auras and vibes a lot of the time. Like, if I'm with someone, I can usually tell if they're upset, left out, feeling lonely, in pain, which is good, but not good in some ways, because if they deny it, then it's just horrible. And it's also horrible if you get a partner who denies stuff when you know that they're lying to you, because you don't want that type of relationship where they're hiding stuff from you. You know, a partner should be able to come and open up to you about anything and everything. If they can't, then it's not a good relationship in my book. If they can't tell you anything without being in fear, it's not good. Maybe it's fear because they shouldn't be doing what they've done, in which case they might not be good for you, and it's your right to leave if that person's no good for you. Do you know what I mean? But we have digressed a lot off the topic. But I just thought it's very interesting to hear Ivan's story about his reaction to my video, because, you know, I've never had a good reaction video that I know of. I knew someone who reacted to some other videos, but like I said, he was a bit psychotic. It was a long, long time ago. He really did have psychological problems. So I just stopped watching his channel, because it would have been very destroying for me if I'd have carried on watching that. I don't think he was asexual either. Very not. He said he was asexual, yet he said he was there having lots of sex and stuff. I'm like, yeah, he was a bit, like, his head was a bit, I think he needed some help, put it that way. And I'm not being horrible when I said that. I genuinely, I know he had some sort of disorder that he used to talk about. So yeah. But yeah, I hope this video has been useful, helpful, insightful in some way. You know, we've covered a lot of topics in this video, and I just wanted to give a shout out to Ivan, because it is nice that he's done a lovely positive reaction video whilst sharing some of his own personality and emotions on camera with me, particularly with me. It's like partway through, you think he's just talking to everyone, and then he starts talking to me, like saying, "Oh, well, that's what I was, you know, in response to what you say, this is what I'm like." And it's kind of like, well, actually it's aimed at me then, isn't it, really? But other people can watch. So yeah, it was very interesting for him to say, "I am this way, so, you know, I'm similar to you and I'm not like you in other ways." But he does say he's like crazy, you know, like, if I've learned in my life that if someone says they're a weirdo, which I think he uses the word that he's a weirdo, and that, you know, he's not emotionally stable, you have to accept that about someone, however adorable they may come across. Because I mean, he comes across in his videos as quite adorable. My heart goes out to him at the pain he's had in his life, at the pain he's still experiencing because of his past relationship that didn't work out, about the problems he's facing mental health wise. You know, my heart does go out to him, you know, and, you know, you kind of feel like, I kind of feel like, you know, I want to give him a hug, you know, and say everything's fine, you know, everything's gonna be all right, work on yourself and just keep working on you, you know, until you're in a fit state to be in a relationship, should you want to. But like he says, he's not mentally stable or emotionally stable, I think he said, to be in that a relationship again. And that means he wouldn't be good in a relationship. And it's nice he said that honestly to me, because like aesthetically, like I said, he is my type. He's not in this country anyway, so nothing would happen between us because it's not like he's going to move. So, and I don't even know if he's romantically attracted to me or if he's just chatting in general. But I would say if someone's reacting to a video, I'm talking about dating and what I'm looking for in a relationship, and they're reacting specifically to whether they be right for that, match those or not, I'd say that that's a little bit of a romantic interest. But yeah, so I think it's touched on some subjects as well that's very relevant to a lot of asexuals. The fact that, you know, some asexuals do want to cut off. They want to be more aromantic in their feelings, which that's a very controversial thing to say. And I'm not saying this from my own point of view. I'm saying I know people who trying to force themselves to be that. And I do understand. I mean, but you can't change your orientation, you know. Aromantics are aromantic because they are that way. You can't make yourself become aromantic. But I understand what they're saying. They're trying to say they cut off their emotions so much that they don't feel all that romance. But in actuality, I think they're just trying to hold themselves back from that. So, you know, and I get that because as a hyper-romantic asexual, I have to manage my hyper-romanticism. But I say I manage it, not that I cut off from everything, but I manage it. But you have to kind of like draw back some of the impulsive romance that you would normally feel. Like I feel romance very easily usually, but I've managed to control that. So I'm not so hyper romantic as I used to be. Do you know what I mean? I don't fall in love as easily as I used to, which is really good for me. And you know, with Ivan, I know he reached out to me on Twitter and said he could do with a friend right now and stuff like that, which, you know, he seems, you know, like part of me in a romantic way thinks that'd be great, but I don't want to get too attached to a person who aesthetically I think's quite good looking, and potentially I could get very attracted to him. So I don't want to go there when he lives in another country and it would not be suitable to be in a relationship with, if you know what I mean. Because I'm really looking for a guy, younger foreign guy to be in a relationship with. And I'm happy I'm his YouTube friend. I'm happy to get to know him a bit better. Part of me just wants to give him a hug sometimes when he's talking on his videos. He's into kissing as well, which obviously is quite attractive quality. So yeah, but I've just got to be careful, you know. I don't want to. I've kind of steer cleared at the moment of getting too involved with foreign guys because I know that I get attracted too intensely to them to the point where I really want to be in a relationship with them and I want them to be like over here tomorrow, and that's not a healthy way to be. And so I need to hold myself back a bit. So just like people try and force themselves to be aromantic, which they can't really, you know, it basically means they're trying to force themselves to have more platonic relationships because it's better for them. I'm trying to keep foreign guys more arm's length because I know it's good for me, because I don't want to become too hyper romantic over them because they can't be over here, none of them. And it just means I keep getting hurt over and over again. And I don't want to get hurt over and over again. There's no point. One day, a foreign guy will have his shite together, as it were, excuse my language, and he will be with me and he'll know exactly what he wants as me, and then that will all be fine. But until I meet that highly self-developed person who, you know, knows what he wants and goes for it, and it's me, then it's not going to work out, you know. And, you know, it'd be great if I was more attracted to British guys, but really I'm not. The only British guys I ever get remotely really attracted to is guys who are like about 20 years old, like really young. It's about, aesthetically, it's about the only age group I can even remotely be attracted to, usually on an aesthetic level, and that's too young for me, really. 21 plus, and even, you know, British guys, it's just not really something I go for. Obviously, if it's British born, but they've got foreign blood in them, that's different. I'm talking about British through and through, you know. So it's kind of difficult. I understand how hard it is for people. I understand that having to cut off from past feelings, and that's why people try and force themselves to be someone they're not in order to save themselves and help themselves. I think you have to train yourself and manage your... My internet cut out after I'd apologised for going off topic, so I missed everything you said between then and now. All right, Michael. Okay, you'll have to catch up because I'm going to conclude this video soon. But Yeah, I just wanted to say a big thank you to Ivan for the video he's done. Thank you for sharing his emotions, thoughts, and feelings. I think if he was over here, I'd probably want to give him a hug, to be quite honest. But I'd be very wary that he said that he's not emotionally stable. So I know he needs to sort himself out and help himself like he's continuing to do. So I appreciate his honesty in that as well. So yeah, it's been a great insight into lots of things we've discussed tonight. Actually, insight into relationships, insight. A very controversial topic is when people are trying to, some people, it's not talked about, is it? No one talks about the fact that some people are coming to me and telling me they're just trying to force themselves to be aromantic, or think they are aromantic now because they've changed themselves so much. And so they don't experience that strong romantic attraction. But, I kind of think you can't really change your orientation like that. And I guess some people can change, but with the people that have told me, it's like they've gone through so much trauma, they don't want to be emotionally attached to people, and they've kind of like done that to protect themselves, which I get. So, but at the end of the day, I'm not aromantic, I'm a romantic person. I could say that I'm more aromantic as in terms of British guys, because I don't really feel like, in terms of like relationship, I couldn't be with them, only like maybe hug them or cuddle them at best and stroke their hair, which is more like a platonic thing. But I'm not aromantic, so it would be ridiculous of me to say that, I respect aromantic asexuals. I think those who lack romantic attraction, they have their own problems. Some of them love being aromantic. They're happy. They're great. They don't have all the relationship drama. Whereas other aromantics, they really crave to know what romance feels like. They crave to know what it feels like to be in a romantic relationship. They crave knowing the feeling and being able to feel romance. So I think it's different for everyone. I think everyone's got their own struggles and battles in life, and that whatever orientation we are, we have to accept what we've been given and make the best of it, and realize that everything's as it should be right now in our life, and that if things definitely do change because our life changes for the better, then that's all good and well. And I think that, if you're gonna brave actually thinking about a relationship, you are a romantic person, for example, and want a relationship, or an aromantic that decides they want a platonic relationship, I think you have to be prepared to put your heart on the line and risk getting hurt. And it's a horrible thing saying that, but it's the truth, isn't it? Whenever you put yourself out there for a potential relationship, you always run the risk of getting hurt. It's a horrible thing to think about. Is that worth the risk? Is it worth you risking your health and happiness over it? If the person that you get to know on a deep emotional level, you believe it's worth it, and you think they're worth taking the risk over, then I guess it's good. And if you're in a good place, you have to sort yourself out first. So it's no good going to a relationship with tons of problems and issues about yourself, because that's not going to help you or the person. And unless you know what you want specifically in a relationship, then it's not going to work out. Some people think I'm too specific in what I want, but at the end of the day, you have to be very specific, because it's not going to work out. There's no point in lying, there's no point in lying about what I want, or no point in pretending, or no point in widening the gap. Like, I never want kids in my life. It's that is a deal breaker for me. There's no question of it. 15 years old, I made that decision. I'm not ever going to go back on that. I don't physically want something inside me. Yes, I could adopt, but it isn't the life for me, So I made that decision, and these days I predominantly get attracted to much younger guys. I'm not saying that I won't ever get attracted to an older guy. If he was a foreign older guy and he looked really young, then that might be okay, you know. But it's all about the looks, the lifestyle. If I have things in common with the person, if I'm highly aesthetically attracted to them, because for me looks do matter. Because if I'm not asexually attracted to the guy, I can't kiss him, and I need kissing in a relationship. It's just the way it is for me. I can't, not be in a relationship without that. So yeah, I would say if you're watching this video, work on yourself, work on knowing exactly what you want in life. If you've got past trauma, work on that and work through it and try and help yourself as much as possible. You know, we can all go to counsellors and they do help, but at the end of the day, the one person that really matters that can change your life is you. I know this from going to counselling for years of my life in the past years. I had a couple of good counsellors that were positive and encouraging. One type of work counsellor as well, she was amazing. However, the real crux of the matter is myself. The only person that's made the most dramatic impact in changing my life for the better forever is my own self. Because it doesn't matter what counsellors say, whether they're right or they're wrong. It's if you believe what you're talking about and your life is right or wrong. Whatever someone else says, unless you agree with them, you know, and you mean it wholeheartedly, things are never going to change and you're never going to improve your life. Only you can make the decision. You know, some people say they're mentally ill. And if they believe they're mentally ill, they are. But that same person 2 years later could turn around and say, I'm not mentally ill anymore. And they won't be. The difference is their belief. So I'm not saying this is true for everyone. Some people have really strong psychological hallucinative problems, you know, where they actually see two of themselves. And, you know, some of it's very deeply disturbing that needs more intense treatment. And I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a counsellor, so obviously do get professional help. But I'm saying there's some people I've come across in life, and the only thing that's really making them mentally ill is the fact they believe they're mentally ill. And so that's what changes. So the last time I saw a counsellor, I said, I don't need to see a counsellor anymore. I made that decision. Doesn't mean to say I can't go back to one. You know, if I really needed to in the future, then I would, to chat through things. But it's when you decide you need help, you get the help, don't you? When you decide you don't need help, you don't need help. When you decide you're mentally ill, then you get help. When you decide you're not mentally ill, then you don't need the help. So a lot of your own psychology and problems, how you perceive them, are down to you. I think it's really brave if you admit you've got problems. And I think more people should admit they got problems and should go and get help to be sorted out. You know, I have no shame in saying I've seen counsellors in the past. I saw a lot throughout lot of my late teenage years, from 17 years onwards, you know. Like I said, a couple were okay, were quite good, but the rest weren't brilliant. So sometimes I think counsellors can really help you, and other times they can hinder you. So, you know, like if they don't understand where you're coming from, it can make you more frustrated, because not only do you feel misunderstood by the people around you in your immediate environment, if you're misunderstood by a counsellor, well, that can kind of cut like a knife even more, because figuratively speaking, don't go and do that. That was hypothetical, not real. Don't go and cut yourself up. It's not good. But you know, it can be very difficult if you go to see a counsellor who doesn't understand you and you're not understood at home or anywhere else. It can kind of like be, well, I've come to the counsellor for help and then they're not understanding me. Where do I go from here? No one understands me, you know. What am I meant to be doing with my life? Where am I going? Like, if no one understands me, why should I be here? And so some counselling can be actually destructive if you get someone who doesn't understand you. And I think it's very difficult when you come across counsellors that clearly have no idea of your condition. So I have had anxiety and depression in the past. I've got rid of depression in 2012 after having it for years of my life, including as a child. And I had anxiety. I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder level 4 years ago. I can't even remember how many years ago. It was a long time ago. And I've really improved myself. That's me doing the work, you know. I've pushed through my fears, pushed through my boundaries. I'm like, well, what do you want to do in your life, Sandra? You know, I want to speak on stage. What do you want to do? I want to do blogging and YouTubing. You know, what do you want to do? I want to be on social media. I want people to know who I am. I want to change people's lives. I want to change people's perceptions of things. I want to help others. So that means you're going to have to change yourself, doesn't it, in order to do that? And then it becomes like, I have to change myself, you know, like I've had to change myself loads for asexuality in the way that it's weird, because I've never been more of myself than I am now, because I'm open about my asexuality and I know about it. But kind of like I've had to change myself loads from being shy about sex to talking about it, which is weird, obviously, because I'm asexual. It's kind of like sometimes it's the last thing you really want to be talking about, but you end up talking about it more, which is weird. To help other people. So yeah, I was really shy prior to 2014, and I would never ever talk to someone about my private life with any of my exes, other than when I was in the relationship with them. Wouldn't talk about it to my best friends, female, male, anyone. It was really sacred to my heart, secret, top secret. No one knew anything about that part of my life, apart from the person that was with me at the time. And now it's kind of like it's all laid bare out in the open on my book, Asexual Perspectives book, as you know, and on here. So yeah, it's really weird. And obviously I spoke at the UK Sexuality Conference last year, which was a personal triumph for me. You know, not only did I want to do that to support asexuals, but it was huge for me. I mean, I've had anxiety for years, but like I said, I've worked, so it's so much reduced now to what it was. I would never have been able to do that years ago. But I thought to myself a couple of years ago, or over a couple of years ago, that's what I want to do. I want to speak on stage in London. All right, it might not have been a stage as such. It's a lecture theatre, which is kind of like a stage, but you know, but it's speaking in London, public speaking, you know, it was a courageous thing for me personally, you know. Thanks for the thumbs up, I appreciate it. And so I really pushed through my fears and boundaries, but it's me who did that. I had no counsellor telling me to do that. I haven't, like I said, I haven't had a counsellor since 2014. I had no counsellor telling me what to do, no counsellor egging me on, or no people like saying you can, you know, you can do this apart from myself. And you have to be your own coach and your own counsellor and your own best friend in life. That's the real strong advice I can give you. Like, and whatever you say really leads and dictates your life. So if you think you're insane, then you kind of like are. If you think you're not insane, then a lot of the time you're not. But there are exceptions to the rule, you know, people who are violent, aggressive, people who murder people, you know, that's not nice. So obviously people need to get help if they're hurting themselves or other people. I don't agree with that, and I would always say they need psychological help, you know, real or psychological help. Or maybe they just know themselves they're a bad person, in which case they're being honest with themselves. And if they don't want to change, then obviously consequences are consequences, aren't they? As a whole, I think as a person, you decide whether you're a good person or bad person. If you don't like stuff about yourself, you need to change it, you know. That doesn't mean to say everyone else is going to think you're good or bad. You know, you might think you're great and other people might not think you're great, or vice versa. At the end of the day, you've got to live your life for you, and you've got to be in control of the driving seat of your life. And you know, you've got to really decide what to work on with you. And out of all the counselling I've ever had, the thing that changed my life was in 2012 when I went to my first ever business seminar, which is why I'm into business and entrepreneurship, and realised that I have skills and experience that I can help others. I never realised that about myself. Seriously, I was always like given the impression that I wasn't that that skilled or experienced or intelligent. I always knew I was intelligent, but kind of like I was always made to feel bad about myself. I'm not going to go into the people who made me feel that way, but I was almost made to feel like I'm lower in terms of intelligence, skills, and experience. It's like, why would anyone want to be around you type thing? You're lucky. In actual fact, they were so lucky to be around me years ago. I was with the wrong people. The friends I had weren't really my friends. And I was kind of like pushed into believing they're lucky. I'm lucky that they're even around me, which is not nice, because I'm worthy of so much more. You know, I've got good asexual friends now who value my worth, you know. I'm so happy because on my birthday this year, I'm having an asexual friend come called Andy and my best friend Sam, who he was going to be doing his course. His course has been cancelled at the last minute, which is obviously not good for him. But I said, I believe you'll get a better course and he can come for my birthday now. So I'm so happy, you know. I haven't had people like more than one person or even one person come to my birthday for absolutely ages. You know, and he wants to come, you know, he's really happy. He's like messaged me going, oh, it's sad about my course, but at least I can come for your birthday now. And it's just so wonderful to have that, you know. Like years ago, I was made to believe that people are lucky. I'm lucky, sorry, if people want to hang out with me. Now it's the opposite. Now I've got people who value me, who I care about, and who really want to spend time with me. Who's like, oh, I want to hang out with Sandra. I want to see her. I can't wait. I'm really excited. Even my best female friend who's not asexual, she gets like that. She's like, oh, I missed you. I crave to see you. And it's just lovely, you know? It's lovely to have gone from that. I'm getting a bit emotional now. It's lovely to have gone from that, like, sort of past person. I know the people who made me feel like that, made me feel less than I was, and I had to be grateful for what I've given. It's a bit like Oliver Twist, you know, like when he's saying, please, sir, can I have some more? It's like, you know, like he's begging for food. It's a bit kind of like I was made to feel like that I was lucky if people hung around with me, you know. I don't want to say begging for friends because I didn't beg for these friends, you know, the people became my friends, but they weren't really my friends. I mean, one of them was sticking, you know, was hanging out with people that were bullying me, you know. Behind my back, these people were bullying me, and my so-called best friend was hanging out with them. Another so-called best friend wouldn't tell me any secrets, hardly at all. You know, even general stuff. When I asked about their grandma, they flipped out on me. You know, I was making all the effort to phone them. They'd hardly ever phone me, and it was just like, those were really destructive relationships. But I was made to believe that, oh, it's so lucky you've got these people in your life, because who would want to talk to you else? How nasty is that? And I have to live with that, but I have to just look at it as a positive that I experienced that bad rubbish in my past. I can look back at it now and think, I don't have to put up with that. And I didn't, you know. It came to a time where I said to the person that was like, oh, well, it's your fault you're not friends with me anymore. And I said, well, I'm glad I'm not friends with these people anymore, because they're not my true friends. And I had to stick up for myself and say that. They're not people who really care about me. They're not my true friends. So I'm glad that I've walked away from them, you know. And they were trying to force me to make me feel bad that I've lost bad friends, when actual fact they should have been congratulating me. A bunch of snot bags. Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's horrible when you're made to feel that small that you should be grateful for every breadcrumb you have of people. It's horrible, but I'm not in that position anymore. And I love myself so much now, which is really good, you know. I love myself so much that I know that what a good friend looks like. I know there's people that want me in their life, people that go out their way, actually people have travelled thousands of miles to come to my asexual meetups, you know. I've had people like that and I cut them out of my life. Good for you, Lou. Yeah, it's really good, you know. But especially when I cut one of these people out of my life, I was made to feel really bad. Like, oh, that's not very nice. Why have you done that? You know, like, you're going to get any friends now. You know, it's like, you know, I'm made to feel unworthy. And it's sad because these people who made me feel like that, they still don't appreciate me like they should do, in my opinion. But you can't change people. You just have to accept that these people cannot see the beauty in you, even if you see it yourself. And if you have people who are friends now with you, which I do have really good friends, they can see the beauty in me, especially in a friendship wise, you know. And I think it's sad when people don't see the beauty in you, when you know you've got beauty in you, when other people can see it. And these people might be really close people to you, and you feel like screaming, like, why can't you just see how beautiful the person is in front of you? But so I'm getting emotional now, but sometimes they just don't see it. And it doesn't matter what you do, you just have to accept that these people are different people to you, that you can't change them, that they'll always be the way they are, and if they change, they have to change for themselves. But if they don't think there's anything wrong in the way they feel or think, and they just are not your type of people, even though you're connected to them in some ways, then, you know, you just have to accept that. But it's not always easy, you know. It's not always easy. But I think you just got to remain strong, and you've got to think, this is my life now, and I realise I'm beautiful in my own right. I'm different, you know. I'm far out to a lot of people, But I like that about myself. I wouldn't want to change me and be like everyone else. I couldn't be like everyone else. Even if I tried, I'd just be completely miserable. Which is why I'm never trying to be something I'm not, you know. I know I'm very outspoken and very direct. I know I talk about controversial things sometimes on this channel. I know I talk a lot. But I love that, you know. If I wasn't a talker, I won't be able to help people the way I do. You know, I know some of these, it's really interesting because some people were saying, oh, your videos are long now, or want your short ones. And if you look at the recent short ones I've done, they don't get as many likes as my long live streams like now. They don't get as many likes at all. You know, so the people that are saying, oh, well, your channel, you know, some of it's too long, I wish you go back to the old format wasn't working because I didn't get as many likes. I didn't get as many people listening to me and helping as many people because I got people now live that can chat to me and they can relate to what I'm saying. We can have open, honest discussions about different things. Yes, this is a long live stream and I realise not everyone can stay up for it. But, you know, I've done a few recent videos, like of the aquarium. If you look at the aquarium ones, which were special outdoor ones on International Celebrate Being Single Day, they've hardly got any views. And they were for a very short period of time, and they were out of my home doing something different. And people say they want those type of videos, but when it actually comes to them watching them, liking them, viewing them, they don't get many views. And so I'm thinking I'd rather spend my time more wisely talking to you like this, helping you with your asexual journey in life, by giving you solid experience of what's happened to me, so that, you know, I hope I reach out to some of your hearts so that, you know, you can have a happier life and continue to be happy, and you know someone understands you and gets you. You know, I don't want people to be lonely like I've been in the past. I want people to know that I'm here for them and that they're not alone and that I really understand them and I get how they feel. And, you know, I think it's important because, you know, if I hadn't had those experiences, even though they're hard and horrible at times, I wouldn't be able to help these other people and help you guys now, because I wouldn't be thinking like this. You know, in order to help people who have struggled in their life, you really have to have struggled yourself, because otherwise how are you going to know how to help them? You're not. So you know, there is positives to the struggles and the situation I've gone through. You know, I've been spending a lot more time with myself lately. You know, I don't have guinea pigs anymore here with me. I've got my angel that's at my parents', and sad thing is, you know, I don't see her that much. I'm seeing her tomorrow though, so I'm going to visit her. But I mean, even if I saw her just twice a month, you know, that's only 24 days out of a whole year. So so it's really important that I look after myself now, that I'm a self-sufficient unit, that I live completely on my own in my flat, and that I get stronger. You know, I look at it as a positive now. I look at it as though, you know, I went to see a guinea pig a little while ago. I checked yesterday, it's been sold now, and all the guinea pigs that are on their own have been sold, so I don't need to worry, because I did go and visit it, but I'm not in a financial position to look after another guinea pig at the moment at home here. I'm still paying for Angel's, you know, like if Angel's got to have veterinary care and stuff like that, I'm still paying for her insurance and stuff like that, so she's still under my financial care for that, but my mum pays for all her hay and food and stuff, which is really nice of her. So I still have a financial responsibility to Angel, and I have to take care of her for the rest of her life, which obviously when she's got diabetic medication and needles and stuff I need to get for her. So that at the moment insurance is still covering that, but cover it for the best part of a year more, and then I'll have to pay that out of my own money, which is quite a lot per month. So, you know, I need to be getting all my finance together for in a year's time when I'm going to be having, or less than a year's time, like 10 months time, when I'm going to have to pay that myself out of my own money. And so, you know, I've got work on myself, on my life, and I just look now as an opportunity. You know, I was really upset about my chestnut last year, but I look at her as an opportunity. I look at a reframe now. I reframe her, you know, I reframe her, you know, her passing now as the fact that she was doing it to save me in some way. She was doing it to, you know, like, that's the only way I can sort of like come to terms with it more, that it happened for a reason. I mean, she was losing weight anyway, so there might have been some underlying cause there, and she might not have survived for like a long time anyway. But also, even though she was happy and healthy at the time, overall, in herself, displays like that. But I look at it as she did that to save my life, because now that's happened. I'm like, what can I learn about myself from that experience of her passing? And it was like, I can learn that I've got to spend time on my own. That although I love having guinea pigs, I've got to look at why I have them. And I've got to look at the deep root as to, do I have them because I'm lacking something, like lacking love or something in my life, and lacking a relationship. And kind of like pets do fill in for a relationship, like if you can't have a relationship with a human because you're asexual for some other reason, and there's limited options, especially at the moment, then it's kind of like they do fill that void of the love. But then I'm thinking, well, that means I need to work more on the self-love. It means I need to spend more time on my own. I need to make sure I force myself to live on my own more, as in my mindset more. I have to concentrate on other things. So now I've not no guinea pigs here. I literally financially have to look after myself more. I have to focus strongly this year on getting my finances and business stuff sorted. I'm working triple harder than I was last year because my mind, now I've got over the grief of that, my mind's a lot better. I'm here completely on my own. I'm more business focused, so that's a huge positive. I'm ploughing all that energy I ploughed into having guinea pigs here into my business and my self-development. And like I said, reframing the past, helping myself out like that. So all this stuff's really positive. And, when you've had something happen like that's really traumatic, a passing in the family, obviously it's a furry kid, guinea pig, it still hurts, like like it would if it was a human. It still hurts. So but I've been able to like look at it differently now. I've got to a stage in my life where I think, yeah, her passing was to save you, Sandra. Everything happens for a reason. And now you're looking inward yourself. You're saying, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from not having guinea pigs here in my life at this moment? Should I ever have them again? Maybe it's your time actually to give up on that, at least for now. You don't have to give up on it forever, but at least for now, maybe forever. It's up to you. And you really have to just look after yourself financially, emotionally, and self-love wise. And you need to really focus on that. And that's my goals for 2019. Really focus on finance, really focus on productivity. My favourite part of having a pet is cuddling and listening to the heart. Yes, Heather. And if I think about that, then I can get upset because obviously I'm thinking about my pet that's gone. But I love a lot about pets. But I have to look at a positive thing of me not having any anymore here. So I adore guinea pigs. I really do. I feel they're a part of me, but I have to look at it as a positive way of not having pets. What can I do in my life to fill the void that's obviously was there from not having them anymore here? And what can I do differently to change my life? When I'm rich and famous or whatever, or when I've got tons more money, then I can have as many guinea pigs as I want running around the place, But until I'm in that financial position, it's not happening for me, and I have to look after myself. So it's all about your life changes, and I'm thinking, okay, Sandra, well, at the moment you're not in a financial position to have guinea pigs. So how can you look at this not having guinea pigs as a really positive way? And it's made me look at it. I still got my angel, but like I said, I don't, seeing her like a couple of times a month or even every week if I did, it was just maybe limited time considering she was in my life 24/7, living in my room with me. So I have to just think now in this moment, what can I do that's positive now that gap's there? So instead of that gap being a void in my life, it's actually being filled with things that are working for myself, like I'm now focusing on myself more. I'm now realizing, no, Sandra, you can't afford any more guinea pigs now at this point in your life. You're not in a financial position to do it. You have to keep a roof over your head, food in your belly, because obviously I was made redundant the year before last from my employed job. So, so I have to focus on building building stuff up, like financial situation, business stuff. I've focused on asexuality so long since 2015 that I've took my eye off the ball with all the other business stuff I used to do. that was paying me money. And so I have to go back to doing some of that stuff, but doing other stuff differently than what I did before, because that wasn't that was working to a certain extent, but I want to do other stuff. So I have to maintain everything I'm doing for asexuality, the group stuff here, newsletters, everything, and do all this other business stuff on top. Now that requires a lot of extra energy, you know, it requires a lot of brain power, requires a lot more hours, because I'm doing stuff on top of stuff. And by not having guinea pigs here, you know, which do need a lot of time and attention, I'm able to focus on that. So that's the positive thing, you know. I have to look at not what I've lost, not what's gone from my life, but what I've got in it now. And what I've got is the opportunity to spread my wings business-wise, the opportunity to grow as a person more, the opportunity to focus on me. Because obviously when I got guinea pigs, especially as my guinea pigs that I've had here since 2012, I have to let you know that nearly all of them have had operations. Nearly all of them have been sick in some way, had very weird illnesses. My vet said to me, he said, I've never known anyone to have guinea pigs like yours, which have just got the most strangest illnesses. And people like my mum said, well, you've been so unlucky with guinea pigs, because everyone's been ill with something, been back and forwards to operations. And I look at it as a positive way, that had those guinea pigs not had me as their mother looking after them, then probably most people would have just had them put to sleep and got another guinea pig, because it had been cheaper for them and less time consuming looking after them when they're sick, and less emotional stress. But I'm not like that, you know. I look at it as though it's really lucky they had me, because I cared for them so much. I plowed a lot of emotional stuff into them, emotional support, love, care, attention, time when they were very sick, helped them a lot. You know, and when you're constantly going backwards and forwards to the vets with them, like some of them, I had got a family of 2, and one of them was pregnant from the pet shop, and she had 2 children, and I had a family of 4 here, which was very hard work, looking after 4 in indoor cages, clean them out every day and tending to them all. And they all had genetic problems, so all backwards and forwards having operations at the vets, and I was in and out of the vets like regularly. And back then I didn't even have insurance, so I went through like loads of savings, and which is why I'm not as financially well off as I could be right now, because I spent thousands of pounds years ago on them, because of all the operation. I mean, their operation for a guinea pig is like £300 a time upwards. Now I'm insured, the insurance covers most of that, you know, so I don't have to worry about it. But back then I wasn't, and so as you can imagine, my savings went down pretty quickly. Savings I built up over years of hard work as a manager. Like, I used to be a manager of a bed company for years. I used to make as much money in commissions I did salary, but my salary's gone down since I had that job, because I've done jobs which isn't management anymore, and which is more sales and, you know, less pay and stuff. So, you know, life changes, doesn't it? But, you know, I haven't got that emotional pull anymore. I've got Angel to consider and worry about. My mum takes good care of her, and she gets all the treats and toys she could ever wish for. She's really spoiled constantly. And she's good company for my mum, you know, and there's nothing I can do about it. I can't change what it is. You know, she's over there all the time now. She won't, you know, she'll be there for the rest of her life. So I have to come to terms with that, which is hard in and of itself. So I have to look at all the positive things and look at this as like, Sandra, you actually, apart from obviously having emotional ties to Angel, you know, Chestnut's gone, and there is no more guinea pigs in my life. And so I have to just focus on me. I have to think, well, this is an opportunity to have all that emotional stress and struggle that you had for years looking after your poorly guinea pigs and in and out of the vets. Although I do it again in a heartbeat, from the sense I love guinea pigs and I'd always want to be there for them, and they're part of my soul in a way. I have to look at the positives that, you know, I don't have that stress anymore in my life. I don't have to focus on all that. It means I can have a better opportunity in the future, so long as I have money for Angel's care, that of earning more money again, because I'm not paying out all that money I was in food and bedding and, you know, and all the emotional upset and paying backwards and forwards to vets. I mean, my vet is it's known as an exotic vet, which specialises in guinea pigs. So they're at the opposite end of the city to me, so it's taxis there every time, there and back. Well, taxi fare adds up to a lot of money, so, and you don't get that back from insurers, so that is a lot of money, you know. So and like I said, every guinea pig I've had since 2012, well, end of 2011 actually, I got my first, you know, they've all had to have operations in and out of the vets, you know. And so I don't have that to deal with. I don't have that trauma to deal with anymore in my life. So I just have to think, well, you've got a break now for a while. Don't know how long it's going to be for, but you've got that traumatic break broken. It's time for you to heal yourself from the past. Time for you to put trauma behind yourself. Have a less traumatic life. Time to really start loving yourself even more, working on yourself more, working on your businesses, on your finance, doing more online courses, working towards goals, ambitions, and dreams. I'm really fired up this year. I'm really productive compared to what I was last year. And so, I'm just like, I feel like these next few months are crucial to me fulfilling all my goals, ambitions, and dreams all the way through to sort of May, June time. And so, there's a lot of positive stuff going on in my life, and I think that's what you have to do when something really tragic happens and upsetting. You have to spend time grieving, which I did for a long time. You have to do that. When you don't do that, you bottle up the pain and it just keeps stabbing you inside from the inside out. But then you have to, come to terms with it, and then you have to look at the positives. Because once you start turning your life around, I'm really free now. I could go and get a job anywhere in the world if I really wanted to, because I have no guinea pigs here or pets to, I do have Angel, but she lives with my parents all the time anyway. So if I wanted to go on holiday, I could go on holiday whenever I want. If I want to travel the world, but I don't like flying on a plane, which is why I don't travel the world. But I could, I could go and get a job anywhere that I want in the world. Obviously I have my friends in the UK, so I wouldn't really want to do that. But I have friends quite spread over though, so I could move somewhere else to the UK. But I love my flat here specifically. But the world's my oyster now because I don't have any ties, if you know what I mean. I don't have anything else I need to look after apart from me. And financially, my guinea pig, in terms of care, obviously, which is really motivating me. I've got just less than a year to get my business and finances in order, because I know that it's going to cost a lot of money when her insurance runs out for that particular condition she's got, because they won't pay out anymore in future years because it's ongoing and the insurance company took it out of her policy for this year. So yeah, it's really motivating. So it's like motivating for me to turn my life around. So I want, just to share with you, no matter whatever happens in your life, do give yourself time to grieve. Do give yourself time to sort your life out, yourself out. Don't just go into another relationship like I used to do in the past, jumping in with both feet when I hadn't healed myself, I hadn't helped myself, I hadn't changed myself. Don't do that. Make sure you heal yourself. Like Ivan was good enough to admit in his videos that he's, when he's doing a reaction video to my video, he was good enough to admit that he's emotionally unstable and that he doesn't know what he wants in his life. That's a brave person saying that on camera, particularly. I really respect and admire him for that. So big virtual hug from me for doing that. It takes guts to say that. Really does, to say that he's, got problems and issues within himself. And I think that's what you have to do, and that's why I'm telling you now the difference between how I was thinking back a few months ago about my beautiful, darling little, C, as I call her now, passing. But, that's how I've changed, and I have to change, This year, in 2019, I want this year to be the year of change for me. I don't want to be how it was last year. Last half of last year was one I'd rather not repeat. And so the first part of it was great up till the UK Asexuality conference. That was all good. Then that was in July, and then September onwards is just a nightmare for me. I was constantly getting sick as well. So I'm in a much better headspace now. I'm looking at this as a time where I'm actually really just with myself, and I have to love myself more. I have to put myself first more. I'm looking at it as though her passing was so that I could focus more on myself and I could look after myself better and I could pay more attention to me, because I've not got any more guinea pigs here and can't afford it. Therefore, it's led me to the conclusion that I need to work on myself more and really start getting my life together, sorted, without all the trauma of all the emotional upset and pain when I'm backwards and forwards at the vets with the pet all the time. Because I've never had even my hamsters when I was a kid I had problems with. They usually had cancer or fungus in the stomach and didn't last long either. So I don't know what it is with me with pets, but I seem to get all the ones that got really severe problems. So for a while, it's nice for me to just relax, be myself, and not have that trauma in my life. It's obviously concerning all the time with Angel's diabetes. that to worry about a little bit, but it's not so concerning because I've got someone taking excellent care of her, and she's happy and running around and lively and beautiful as usual. So I'm visiting her tomorrow anyway. So it's a bit upsetting when, like, you know, she's obviously more sort of like feisty with me now, because she doesn't know me as well as she used to, because obviously my parents look after her now. So that's a little bit upsetting, but I just have to accept that, you know, that she's moved on to my parents more, and so I'm more of a stranger than I used to be, and that's the way it is in life, and I just have to accept that. But at least I visit her and she knows I love her, and it's all good. So yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it's been useful, helpful, insightful. Thank you for staying all the time with me, Michael, Heather, and whoever else has been watching me throughout this whole video pretty much. And thank you for the thumbs up. I really appreciate that. And yeah, it's lovely to see you. Take care. And if you're new to this channel, please subscribe below. Oh, you miss your pets, Lou. Big hugs from me, Lou. Thanks for watching. Oh, yeah, thanks for watching, Lou. Thanks, Heather. Thanks, Michael. Love to all of you. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. If you just tuned into this channel, give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get notified every time I go live. Embrace your quirky and each other's. Take care of each other. Love you lot. Thanks for watching. Bye. Take care. Bye.